time to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Matrix, and Whisperer.
Hello and welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. The show is also always sponsored by the Standard Squeeze and Ryan from Astute Newstead. I'm the Supercoach Matrix, and today I am here with the Whisperer. Mate, how was your weekend?
Fuck, a lot happening. I haven't been here for a while. I come back and watch all the footy and everyone's out, but good. I didn't come last on the podcast out of the three of us, which is always handy. Unfortunately, you did. But
I'm just waiting for some updates.
Yeah, so am I, mate. 1,064. Nah, not bad, not great. Had a couple of stinkers. Jack DeBellin decided to not do anything. And Terrell May, I think he'll be playing his last game for my club next week.
Yeah, right.
Big call.
I mean, I reckon you've got a bit more positivity than me. I had like 5 guys under, 40. I had about 3 guys hit their break even this week, and one of them was Dallin Watene Zelezniak. I had basically every late ruling out. I had Fafita, I had Kai Pearce-Paul, I had Dom Young. I thought I was so set up for this week that I brought in Carraz last week because he was the captain option. And there is shambles over here at the Fiddler.
I mean, I try and keep the boys more positive, but behind closed doors, absolutely panic stations. I put up a tweet today with my Dallin Watene Zelezniak stats. Him not in my team this year is averaging 71.5. Him in my team this week is averaging 40.4. Traded Marzu out for him because I thought that would be a great move. So not only has that lost me 37 points, it's also going to cost me 2 trades because I'm going to have to trade Watene Zelezniak out next week because I have no other reason to hold him. So it's just all around a shit show. As you said, Dom Young could potentially be missing next week with that hamstring injury. I've still got Armstrong sitting here doing Speed FA, and Fletcher Sharp has just basically solidified his place in that night side. All around, just a shit show. I'm trying to be positive, but it's not looking good for next week.
Oh, I think I'm set up for next week. I had a heap of doggies sitting out, and surely Sean Johnson won't ever score another 21 again that he doesn't get injured in.
I have 11, 12. 12 if I'm counting Joe Chan, which struggle street. I'll probably bring in 2 guys next week. I'll have a look at the draw and see who plays 16 and 19 and bring some of those guys in. But apart from that, mate, we're at troubling times. Warriors capitulate, which wasn't good for my Watene Zelezniak stocks or your SJ stocks. But there's plenty of more positives to talk about. First game of the round, mate. Looking at the the Sharkies up against the Dolphins. We all had this one pegged as like the slam dunk can't miss VC of the week. Had big trap game vibes though. Nico Hines didn't really deliver with a 67. Just the Sharks looked shot for the first 30 minutes and then they finally rallied home. But Nico shit the bed with a kick to tie the game.
Yeah, I mean, tough kick. In the end, 67 from a vice captain / captain was probably pretty good this week with some of that those Ruben Garrick vibes today and some of that other stuff that went on. So yeah, probably wasn't absolutely disaster street, but
not the heights that we had hoped for.
No, true. I was thinking it could have been 150 on the leaky Dolphins.
But yeah, Britton Nickero, 120, finally delivered for owners. We were talking about him as a buy back in round 9 or 10 because he'd bottomed out, and since then he'd done nothing, but finally delivered with a 120. So well done to the owners. I think he's still relatively pretty low owned, but it just shows you the sort of game the Sharks had. When he was the top scorer with 120, they put on 28 points, and there was no one else above a 70. Blake Brayley scored a 68, and that was with a try to line break assist. Hines 67. And then Ero's a weird one because he's putting up fantastic numbers. Like he's putting up 62 doing nothing. It's not quite elite levels, but it's not enough for you to sell. I feel like he's a guy that we're going to be just stuck with unless you have like a week where there's no trades to be made. He's a guy that we could be stuck with as like center wing 5 or 6, which is not the end of the world, but he's doing enough not to be sold, but not doing enough to be a keeper.
Yeah, Sharks are out next week. Hey, they don't play next week. I'm half thinking like maybe a hold Dallin and trade out something like that. I don't know. I'm just like Ero's sitting there. I don't have anyone else to trade.
Yeah, that's fair. He'll be 490, and I think the beauty of Ero is the fact he does have fullback dual. He's not like a Blaze Talungi where Blaze will eventually have to be sold because wingers on non-dominant sides don't stay hot all season. So him having the fullback duals handy if you do have an injury at fullback and you have no one you want to bring in, you can slot him down. But a 48 break even this week, scored 62, price at 476, will probably be in and around that 495. So just let's call it 500. Like I said, like he's not doing enough to be sold. He's not doing enough to be like, wow, this guy's amazing. He's just going to be a bit of a plotter, I think. On the Supercoach relevant front, Ronaldo Molitalo, 56. Thank God he got some attacking stats because it was looking very dire for him.
When he scored a try and was still on like 27 or something, I was very nervous.
Yeah,
he did. He did nothing. Fell over the line, and then I looked at the score. I was like, "Oh, geez, he must be on 50 or 60 by now." Nope, 27.
And I know we got the news before this game kicked off that T. Wilton would be back, not next week, the week after when they come back from the bye. So Sifa Talakai probably wasn't an option, but there were still people that picked him up last week and this week as well. Put up a really impressive 26 points. So great if you did jump on him. Apart from that, not really much else to talk about. Cam McInnes with the 29. Looks like he hasn't been picked for Origin. He's been picked on the extended bench. So he's a guy with a 91 break even.
McInnes was picked, man.
I think he was picked at like 18 or 19. I don't think he was picked on the bench.
Okay.
I will check that. But yeah, his break even is 91. He scored, goodness me, not 91. He scored a 29. So he's gone 60 under his break even. He's going to drop, goodness, a fair bit of cash. He's going to be like mid 500s. And next week he'll have a massive break even as well. We could honestly pick McInnes up for 510, 520. And I know he's not fantastic. Like he's not like a really sexy pick, but he's like a budget Isaiah Yo. And if you want to have him as like 2RF 4 or 5 by season's end, I think that's a really tempting prospect.
I tell you what, one guy I wish I got on. No, he didn't get named. I just got really confused when I was skimming through it and I saw Cameron named it 13. Yeah. There's a few too many Camerons for my liking. But yeah, I don't trust Cameron M too. Yeah, I don't trust anyone with two first names. And Murray from the Wiggles is a name.
Too many Camerons. But yeah, McInnes picked it in 19, so I would imagine he's not in Madge's plans with Murray fit, and obviously Yo's there as well, and you've got Crichton playing amazing footy, and people just have a hard on for Liam Martin for some reason. So I don't see McInnes getting back into the side anytime soon, especially if New South Wales do win game 2. So he's a guy we could be looking at in, say, round 19, round 20 for the run home if we're getting him at, low 500s, which could be very, very appealing. Onto the Dolphins, mates. A couple of really good performers. Herbie Farnsworth, 88. He's gone from strength to strength since moving from the right to the left. I'm probably not going to pick him up because he's just not, I guess, proven enough long-term, like year on year, to be worth the nearly 700K that we're going to have to pay for him. But if you do have him, if you jumped on him early, then fantastic, because when he's moved over to the left, he's been great. As with Cody Nikorima, bit of Tyrant Wishart about him, plays 5'8" halfback, but not a guy I'm overly looking at. However, Max Plath is definitely a guy that I have interest in as I own him. Been up and down with him in recent weeks. 508K available to RF 5'8", fantastic. Scored the first try of the game, so 77 points for him. 45 BP. We'll take that, especially in a week where other options at 5'8" didn't really deliver. Like Wishart, Cody Walker wasn't fantastic. Galvin obviously out. Dill Brown made up for it with a try, but Maxi Plath 77. Cover 16, I think, does cover 19 as well, mate.
Yes.
Too late.
Yeah, covers both.
Too late to jump on at, say, 530?
I don't think so. If I had a boost, I probably would have traded him in this week once I heard Kai Pearce-Paul and Fafita went out. But I was trading out some blokes like Davey Armstrong and somebody else that's out for a very large period of time regardless. So, yeah. So it wasn't helping my numbers anyway. But yeah, if I had a boost, I probably would have brought him in this week. Look, he's probably just going to be the one that got away for me all year. But I think that we can expect 50 to 70 pretty much every week, probably 50 to 60. He's not going to score a try every week, but he has shown that he's got good positioning to find the line.
Yeah, ball playing as well, which helps. So he could always jag that attacking stat, especially if he hits a big body on a crash ball. But Maxi Plath, like, I've got no reason to trade him out anytime soon. Ideally, by the season's end, I'm not playing him. Like, I'm playing him on matchup. But if he has to be my 17th man, 16th, 17th man, it's not the end of the world. So very happy with him. Hamiso Tabuai Fido, 73. Obviously, he's not going to play next week with Origin and won't play in 19. But boy, he's having really underrated season. We'll have peaks and troughs, but you're getting a fullback that plays center wing. He'll be just a touch over 600k. I think you could do worse than picking him up once Origin rounds out, pending the Dolphins draw and stuff. But yeah, he's been great.
The draw's awful, but when I originally made my mind up that the draw was that awful, it was the Dolphins won't be this good. Like, they won't be a top 4 team. They won't be knocking off the Sharks. So, yeah, as somebody that had Hammer at the start of the year, yeah, I do hate the Dolphins.
Just brutal. Just
Mr.
audio listeners, Mr. Keller just says Matrix is #1 Finns hater, and then just no sugarcoating it, just straight away. Yeah, fuck the Finns.
Yeah, but look, Hammer and Plath. Look, some of these guys I can definitely get around, but I think with the low floor that Hammer has, I was chatting to a friend today and I was just thinking, and I said, look, the draw's going to get a lot harder for the Dolphins. They just played their 3rd game in 2 years in Sydney. They've been really looked after with the draw. They play Melbourne through this period. When they're missing their stars, they're going to play Penrith when they miss their stars. They won't be playing Hammer either. But yeah, look, I would still be staying away from Hammer.
Fair enough. Jack Bostock, if you somehow held through this period, well done. You got a 68. Commander Sarko, interesting. 51, not great. He feels like a bit of an imposter too. I feel like he's a guy that you either love or hate because you jumped on him at the right time or you jumped on him at the worst time. No reason to sell. I want to give a props to Ewan Aitken. On the Tuesday podcast, we said how consistent he's been. He's been fantastic. He'll never let you down. He's a really great buy. And he puts up his 2nd lowest score of the season after we give him the Insight Fantasy Sports seal of approval, which is fantastic. Thank you, Ewan. JMK.
Don't expect anything else from a Dolphins player.
JMK is fine. And apart from that, not much else to talk about in this game. Raiders taking on the Cowboys. Not a huge amount of relevance in this game apart from a couple of names. We'll skim through these. Ethan Strange, 60 points from him. If you've still hung on to him, why? But also well done. 483 has a break even of 71. Will lose about 10k. If you held him through, I think he had like 120 break even at one stage. If you held him through that, then you'll hold him through this. Morgan Smithies is kind of shit, isn't he?
Yeah, Morgan Smithies is. I think it's Smorgan Middies because he is just so mid. He is going to get you 40 to 50, probably maybe 35 to 50 every week. And we're going to be okay with that. I think there's a world where he loses his spot. But yeah, look, if you held on to him, don't. That's about it.
Yeah. He started off so well. Like, we were so happy with him because he was putting up 50s at like 330k. But now the threshold of what we want from him has definitely changed. And I think that's the issue. Like, there's only so long you can be a 50-point plotter for before it's like, okay, this is getting a bit, how you going? So yeah, I mean, hold through the Origin period and then look to move him on. But he's just kind of what he says on the tin. He'll get you 50 and that's about it. Apart from that, not a huge amount to talk about. Danny Levi, 36, offered zero creativity in this game. This is one of the worst games I've ever seen a hooker play. He was dog shit. And that's about it.
That's also one of the best scores I've seen from him since about round 3 as well.
Worst game, best score. For the Cowboys, Scott Drinkwater featured in my biggest sell list on Instagram, and he put up a 89, which is fantastic. Thank you, Scotty Drinkwater. Absolute scum. Helam Lukey, though, he's interesting. 79 with a try. Played big minutes, which is great. 390k, 41 break even. Will go up about 25k. 415k. I still have some scars because I started the season with him. But man, like 80-minute back rower with attacking upside, good attacking side at sub 450k. I really like picking him back up.
He's a target for me because I've still got some dead wood, like a Jamin Salmon or somebody like that. I could see myself getting a Helam Lukey because that cash. I was sitting there with this war chest and I was scoring really well, but that cash is starting to dry up as I've been picking up some of these fallen guns at times. So I think a Helam Lukey. If you finish the year with him as your second row forward, 5 or 6, you're going to be pretty happy.
I'd rather pick up Lukey for 420 than pick up Nenai for 660. Nenai's got a try and still only scored 66, which is concerning for his price, but it's just what he does. I mean, we think back to the game where he scored a hat-trick and didn't hit 100, so it's just like what Nenai does. He is a great attacking threat, doesn't have the greatest BP overall. Great from Cotter and Robson, both 71-67 from those guys, off to Origin. And apart from that, not a whole lot more to speak about. Tamalolo continues to be dog shit. He is going to be 280k next year, and I still will not touch him one bit.
Yep. Yeah, and Thomas McKaylee might be coming for his spot there, but Val Holmes with the 72 as well.
Oh,
that
yes.
was pretty
That's
handy.
Just sort of par for the course for Val Holmes. Did skip over that one, but yeah, pretty par, which is great for him. 72, we will take that. Bunnies defeating the Broncos, mate. This was a pretty shitty game from the Bronx, but from the Rabbitohs, Damien Cook did himself no harm when it came to Origin selection. Didn't get the nod, but 95 from him. He's been in the papers this week. There's been talk about the Roosters wanting to do a swap deal with him and the Cheese from next year. There's been talk about the Dragons tabling a 2-year deal to him as well. And obviously, the Souths have Pete Mamazoulias coming through, but Cook, delivered with a 95 from him. But Trell Mitt, obviously, season best form. He's been unreal the last 4 weeks and has deservedly got a recall back to Origin. As a Queenslander, I am terrified. He's the one man I didn't want to see pick. But 80 points from him, which include the sin bin and 10 minutes off the field. He's just been in incredible form. Ever since he came back from suspension, he's been elite, and I'm very happy that I jumped on him when I did. Obviously, unfortunate that he's off to Origin, but you still take the points where you can.
That was with me. I really wanted him. I ended up just getting in somebody like Dallin or somebody that I thought would play next week. But hey, yeah, kudos to you if you've picked up Latrell Mitchell. I still think 70 is his floor while he's in this form. And this is the best game I've seen the Rabbitohs play literally all year. Just a shame that it happened to come against the Broncos, but hopefully this is a bit of a wake-up call that we need anyway. Keon Colomatani, I thought he was fantastic as well.
Yeah, he was really good. 620k, obviously played Origin last year, won't be in consideration this year. He's played sort of here, there, and everywhere with his sort of minutes in rotation. But his last couple of weeks have been a 51, 59, 133, and a 52. So a little bit up in the air for me to consider jumping on. But if you did jump on, then fantastic. Apart from that, not a whole lot else to talk about here. AJ with a 54. Surpassed Billy Slater as the second all-time leading try scorer. I think he's about 25 away from Ken Ovine. So he is slowing down a little bit, but hopefully, he breaks that record because it would be almost untouchable. Cody Walker, 52 points from him. I feel validated because I wasn't keen on the Walker purchase. But yeah, 52 from him. It's just what Cody Walker does, doesn't it? He'll fluctuate really high.
Yeah, I mean, since I've bought him, I think I've had 108 and a 52. I'm not going to be too disappointed when I wasn't, super high on anybody there, but I'm going to have to go somebody to Nico at some stage. So yeah, maybe games like this mean that it will be a Cody Walker, maybe instead of a Galvin or something like that. Yeah, it's just wait and see, but you knew what you were getting into when you bought Cody Walker at 530. So
I think I saw something on Twitter from Warren Smith that said South pretty much you're going to have to win 9 of the next 11 for them to be a shot at the finals. And I think for them to basically have their team, their best team on the field, obviously he came back from injury off the bench, but Cam Murray, 47, 67 break even, will lose another 20 odd K. He'll be about 530, 540K, I think pretty much right for the picking. I don't expect the heights of Cam Murray 2-3 seasons ago where he's putting up 65 to 70 week on week. But if we're getting a 60-point Cam Murray at a floor when we know what his ceiling is and he's attacking upside at 530K, then I'm really, really tempted by that. The question will be, do we do it before Origin? And that will come down to how your round 19 numbers are looking. But definitely after Origin, I'm really considering picking up Murray as well. A lot of these fallen guns in 2RF, apart from, say, Fafita, Olakawatu, and Crichton, no one really sending out 2RF, so you can probably take a flyer on some of these fallen guns as well.
Yep. Yeah, and I suppose that's the name of the game, getting on players at the right time. So yeah, it's hard with Murray in the Origin squad, I suppose, as well, to go there, but he's good value.
And for listeners from Tuesday, they'll know about my outside the box shout of Jack Whiten, who scored a 27. So great stuff, Jackie boy. For the Broncos, Dean Mariner, 111 points. All the attacks sort of just flew through him. The speed on the edge there was really good, and he was burning his man quite often. So 111 from him, well done. Payne Haas had a really, really nice run to bump him up to a 99. He has been just what we know. Payne Haas has been ever so consistent, even with injuries. He's still been great. He doesn't slow down. Not the time to be picking him up now, but yeah, I mean, it's just Payne Haas, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, this is Payne Haas. We'll see this. Look, you're only paying a 68 for him, which if you are stacked at front row forward and you have the injury cover, I don't hate really just getting in, set and forgetting, but it's probably just best to wait till round 20 with him. Very similar with somebody like Paddy Carrigan and these Isaiah Yo's. And we say second row forward is so shit this year, but a lot of it is because we just can't get these mainstay guys because they go away to Origin through the middle of the year and make our lives a bit harder.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then not really much else to talk about here. I thought Tristan Saylor played probably his worst game in a Broncos jersey, unfortunate for him. Kerry Pani looks really good. I think he looks a really good quality player. Supercoach, he'll be out next week. I know a lot of people bought him this week as a play and then enough moving forward, which is sure. I'm not too nothing ever since the Dolphins have come back into the comp because we have buys every week, but whatever. And apart from that, not too much else. Game of the round. Absolute game of the round, this one. Quality viewing, high-class football here from the Tigers and the Titans. If you weren't a fan of either two of these teams, I don't begrudge you for not watching this because this was dog shit.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't too bad. There was a lot of breaks, and I tell you what, Jojo Fafita, they got the ball to him early and often in that first half, and I thought after watching probably the first 10 minutes, I had the Tigers in my multi to win, and I just went, I've made a horrible, horrible mistake. I've lost my $10 bonus bet.
I tweeted at halftime. They were paying $3.40. They were down by 4, and they had the wind with them. And I thought they were okay value because they were defending well. And yeah, they got up, which was nice. But Stefano Utoikamanu, 88 points from him. Thought he was outstanding. Led from the front really well. Justin Olam with a double for a 77. I can't wait for him to score a double next week. And people talk about him as a buy. And then he proceeds to average about 14 for the next 5 weeks, which is what he does. Alex Seyfarth was also fantastic. 66. Noah Bole, 66 as well. But Sammy Fainu, 62 from him, run really good lines, passes the eye test quite well. Didn't translate to the score. I mean, 62 is great, but that was with a try assist and a line break assist. But yeah, great from him having the dual cover. Api Coruscant, 58 at halfback. You'll take that. He slotted in the hooker a little bit as well at times, but with Galvin back next week, you would expect him to move back to his preferred position of 9. And apart from that, not a whole lot else to talk about from the Tigers from a Supercoach standpoint. But for the Titans, mate, Keanu Keeney was unreal. In a side that scored 10 points, he had 1 try assist, 2 line breaks, 3 line break assists, was in everything, had about 330 run meters. The question then becomes like, you know, as much as Jaden Campbell is electric, he's not really a 6. AJ Brimson isn't a center. He's not really a 6 either. Keeney probably can't play anywhere that's not fullback. Like, do you try and shoehole them into different positions, or like, are they just going to have to let 2 of these guys go?
I think they're just going to have to let them go and spend some money elsewhere. Like, obviously, the Titans aren't a very good team. They just lost to the Tigers. Sorry to kick a man while he's up, but they did just lose to the Tigers, and I think Jaden Campbell could be. How do I say this nicely? Could be the best the highest paid bench utility in the next 10 years, because I'm not sure I see a world where he plays an 80-minute role while he's playing for the Titans, and he doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
I think he needs to go stat pad at a shit team and then get a contract elsewhere. Like, I don't know. Like if you see him as a 6, like the Roosters, they could do with a 6 with Kiri. Like it's like I don't know. It's tough. Like what do the Titans need? They probably need a 9. Like Randall's whatever. Like could you say to the Roosters, "Hey, we'll have Brandon Smith." But then again, do you want Brandon Smith on the Gold Coast? Like it doesn't seem like the best place for him to be. I really don't know where they go. Like I really don't know. Like a couple of years ago, I said Manly should look at Luke Brooks, and I don't get much right, but I'm glad that happened because I thought it'd be a good fit. And this was like 3 years ago, but I generally just don't know where the Titans go with this sort of 3-headed rotation that they've got. Like they lack outside talent, but I don't think 2 of any of these 3 are good outside talent. I think they're all great fullbacks in their own right. So it's really interesting, and I don't envy being the recruiting team of the Titans. But as you said, Jojo Fafita, fantastic. Moeaki Fotuaika was excellent as well. Jaden Campbell with a 77. Unfortunate, I didn't pick him up, and I went with Dallin instead. So that cost me 60 points, which was great. And apart from that, not too much else to talk about from a Titan standpoint. We're not really owning many of these guys. We're only
Should
a couple
shout
of
out one of our sponsors before we duck into the next one?
This is why I don't host, because I don't have sponsorships to read. But let's give a shout out to some of the great people that support the show.
Yeah, we should just have a chat about the standard squeeze. If you're sick of breaking glass bottles, your beer going warm, the standard squeeze have everything you need. They've got some nice hats. I've seen you wear them on the show, Josh. I've hid my receding hairline with it before as well. And really like it. But the standard squeeze products are made from food-grade quality plastic. You can measure the perfect pour in case you need to drive. Basically just so that you can keep track of what you're drinking. You don't have to carry a shot glass around. It doesn't affect the taste of anything you've got. You can go to the website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the code IFS15 to get yourself 15% off everything in store on us. So thanks, guys, and support those that support us. If this is a little intermission, do you want to have a slight discussion about this New South Wales team that was named? Because
we're not biased.
There's a few curly ones. And you are probably the best person on the podcast I could think to criticize the New South Wales team with.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see Connor Watson named. I think he offers good cover at 14. It's like it was him or Burton, or you could carry both of them. And it was like, is that then too thin? Because I feel like New South Wales in game 1 had a very big bench, and it was to their detriment. Obviously, Swaley went down, and you have some shit go to the fan. But all right, so if anything happens at fullback, Latrell can go back. Watson or Crichton can slide into the centres. That's fine. Anything that happens in the halves, you can probably play Watson at 6, and he can do a job, which is great. Luai can play 7 if anything happens to Moses. We saw that today. He was excellent, and we'll touch on him later in the podcast. He probably offers more versatility than Burton, but then the question becomes, then do you carry Watson and Burton? Robson, he's fine. He can play 80 minutes, but like, is he the best op? Is he better than Appy in terms of creativity? Probably not.
Not when you've got Watson there. Like you could... Like, I feel like Appy and Watson would be a really good, I suppose, pigeon pair, whereas Robson to Watson is probably just swapping out somebody that's played for 30 minutes for somebody that hasn't.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm terrified of the back 5. Like, I think if Crichton and Toto play on the same combination, that's scary. And then if Mitchell and Lomax play together as well, it's also terrifying. As a neutral, I'm so glad to see Latrell back. As a Queenslander, I'm absolutely terrified to see him back in the side.
Yeah, Latrell is probably the one that... I mean, if David Fafita gets named, I'm sure that New South Wales fans will say exactly the same thing. I probably would have picked Latrell in the first one. But yeah, look, we can all sit here and be a hindsight hero as well. But speaking of Nico hindsight, yeah, we've got Mitchell Moses in there as well. I don't think anybody's surprised by that after probably 3 weeks of Nico.
Yeah, I mean, Nico didn't play great in Origin 1. He didn't play fantastic in the game where he needed to perform. Like, Moses didn't play well either. Like, I don't think Moses has been picked based off his form. I think he's been picked based off Nico's form. I think he's been
based on his kicking game and everything like that as well. Like Jerome is known as a little bit more of a runner.
they really lacked kicking in game one, and that's why I wouldn't have minded having Burton at centre over Suaalii, because at least, on fifth tackles, and Burton can just give it a roost, which is what he's good for. I keep looking at Jake Trbojevic with a captain next to his name, and I don't really understand it. Like, I don't get Trbojevic. I never have. Like, I don't really know what he offers in terms of a rep level, and maybe that's harsh.
I think it's more leadership and like presence, and like we don't know what happens in those camps and everything. Like, he seems like a guy I could rally around. I'd want him on my team. I'm just like, when you've got probably 60% of the NRL to pick the best team, do you choose Gerbo?
I don't know. Like, surely Isaiah Yeo has got good enough leadership to rally the troops. I mean, he's very young, and it's probably too young for Origin, but Stephen Crichton has shown himself to be an excellent leader this season. True. I don't know. Like, the forward pack doesn't worry me too much. Gerbo's whatever. Haas, for some reason, just, I don't know, just doesn't play like Haas at the rep level.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, I wonder if, like, you're around him every week, you know how to use him a little bit better as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if Cleary was there, does Martin get used differently? And maybe. I'm glad to see Cam Murray there. I think he's exceptional. I think he's a better 13 than Isaiah Yeo in terms of what he offers. I'd probably rather Isaiah Yeo in my team than Cam Murray, but I think Cam Murray's skill set is a better player. And the bench is whatever. Hamoli Olakau'atu off the bench and Spencer Leniu are going to cause a lot of issues. I would have loved to see Mitch Barnett get a crack, because I think he's been playing some great footy this year, whether it be in the front row or an edge. I think he can cover both. But apart from that, I think the team probably picks itself. And yeah, great to see Connor Watson get picked, who is my actual favourite NRL player. But enough from New South Wales. Queensland, I assume we will pick a very similar, if not exact same team for game 2.
I still think there's a world where Fafita comes in. I don't know. Sewer?
I don't know. Like, he didn't play this week for Fafita. How did he go last week? Did he go okay? Like, I can't remember. I think he played okay last week.
Yeah, he scored like a 90 in Supercoach. I know that's not the be all
but like,
and end all,
I feel like he could
he
average
looked really good.
30 and Billy still wouldn't pick him. I don't know what Billy doesn't see in him. Like, even off the bench, like, I'm okay with not starting him. But if you want to bring him off the bench like 15 minutes either side of half time, then I don't really understand. But then again, Billy Slater has never put a foot wrong as Queensland coach. So he picked Selwyn Cobbo off the bench, and that worked well. So he could bring back Ethan Lowe from the Supercoach, from the Super League, and I'd still back it if it was Billy's decision. But yeah, let's move on to the Wars and the Storm. They started off super hot, like 14-0 after about 10 minutes, and the Storm looked rattled, like absolutely rattled.
Yeah, and I don't think the Storm were playing the best footy, but the Wars were up. The crowd was absolutely pumping.
Vibes
there was people. The vibes were extremely high. There was people tweeting that is the other New Zealand Warriors watched more than any Super Rugby team and everything at the moment. And then when you check the score at the end of the game, you realize why Union is king. But
we may lose a lot of followers and subscribers over this, but you and I hold the same opinion. Who is the most annoying fan base on Twitter?
Probably
without a doubt, it's the Warriors, and it's not close. I love a lot of the Warriors fans, but like, it's crazy. What I love the most is the conspiracy theory that they think that they'll never win the comp with Vodafone as their sponsor because the NRL is sponsored by Telstra. That's the best one.
I mean, you know what? If I see one more tweet about Tuivasa Sheck having to play fullback, I just think those people have never seen C and K play.
I've actually done. If anyone ever says RTS should play fullback over C&K, I'm going to lose it. But we were just talking about Mitch Barnett playing for Origin. Great game from him, 88. He's had a really, really good season. He's priced at 600K with a 32 break even. It'll be up around 650. His role is too up and down for me, but he's shown to have moved Jackson forward from the edge to the middle, and looks like he solidified that spot. Adam Pompey, 78. Interesting what happens with RTS, considering Rocco Berry was in a sling after the game. Chance channeling his inner 2005 Benji Marshall with an all-time great flick pass. Just grabs it, turns around behind the back. Oh, sensational.
That was elite. That was me playing touch footy on a Saturday afternoon. Good.
In what, Div 6 mixed grade?
It's Yes, actually. It's
AFB 53. Apart from that, not a whole lot to chat about here. You have to scroll down a fair bit to get to two relevant names in Sean Johnson with a 21, and Dallin Watene Zelezniak with a 13, which includes a sin bin, which also includes a 1 week suspension. So if you brought him in like one sucker here, then oh, you did it as well? Nice.
Yeah.
So we wasted a trade to bring him in this week, and we're going to have to waste a trade to take him out next week because I don't know. Like, do you hold him? You know,
I'm going to hold him.
He made money. He had a 13 and made money, which is fantastic.
I'm going to hold him, but I'm also a stubborn prick. I've held SJ for 5 weeks, which, I don't know, I'm not real good at maths, equates to about a 5.25 points per week, which has been really handy considering I traded out guys like Nico, which people are complaining about with his 67. So, rub the salt into the wound.
The run home for DWZ is great. Does miss the Titans next week, which is fucking sad. But then takes on the Broncos at Go Media. And then from there, it's pretty good. It's the Bulldogs, Raiders, Tigers, Eels, Dolphins, Manly, Dogs, Sharks. Like, it's a pretty good run home. Doesn't play any of the top 4 from last year, apart from the Sharks, if you want to call them a top 4 team.
There's been lots of questions in the chat, and I probably won't bring up an individual one, but I think it'll cover a lot of ones. Like, is Iro a trade? And I think with the fact that Iro can score 60 and the price that we've bought Dallin Watene Zelezniak in, I think I will trade Kale Iro before I trade Dallin, because if I see a really good matchup, if I see Sean Johnson humming in a normal week, if the Warriors have a hard matchup, you can sit a 400k guy that you brought in, or you can play a guy that's got an elite matchup, and I'll be looking at, Supercoach guns, try maps and everything to make those decisions on the pod. But I think I can't see a world where I'm going to trade Dallin out over a Kale Iro, which has proved to be a walking 52.
Yeah, like, the thing is that DWZ has done it before. Like, we've seen him go on stretches of averaging 80 over a month, and it all comes down to the ball that's inside of him. So I understand that, but yeah, Iro is sort of just what he is. In saying that, if Iro does get a try, he gets 100, but he's not. He
hasn't got one for 6 weeks.
That's what I mean. Like, he's not Sifa Talakai. Like, Talakai is so big and so strong that he can get a lot of attacking returns, whereas Iro is much more base heavy. And I think for now they're both fine. But moving forward, we'll definitely have to have a conversation about Iro if he does start to plateau out at around that mid 500s. But for the Storm, Jerome Hughes, if you went, I understand that Nico has gone ballistic in the last couple of weeks, but overall, Jerome Hughes, if you picked him up when Nico first went down or when Cleary went down a couple of weeks ago, you're laughing. Like, he has been great without Munster. Even with Munster, he was fantastic. But he's been exceptional the last, couple of rounds. He has gone pretty much the last month and a half, 73, 95, 22 against the Titans, which is whatever. Like, Jerome Hughes is going to have these games. Then he bounces back with a 79, with a 117, and now another 100-point game. Overall, you take those 22s with the good and the bad.
Yeah, you do. And I think Jerome Hughes was probably the next in line. I just started to look at my trades and you go, hey, I've got SJ, let's just hold. It's a good draw for the rest of the year. But Jerome Hughes is somebody I get every year through this Origin period. The Storm's draw just didn't permit me to get him this year, despite that Kiwi accent, brew.
It's been up and down. It's not like a stretch of like 4 games, but they're all really good. It's been like 2 great games, 1 hard game, 1 good game, 1 bad game, and it's never been a consistent run. So I understand what you mean there. Suafaa Longo finally delivers 494k, center wing fullback. Pap on the return. The question becomes, what happens with Pap? We've seen in previous years, Craig Bellamy has very much opted to bring Pap back slowly, whether it be with Nick Meaney at fullback or now Suafaa Longo. I don't expect Pap to come back on the time when it says on the tin. Like, if he's expected to be back in around 17, around 18, I expect that to be around 20, around 21, maybe.
You know what? I do expect him to be playing round 17 and round 18, but it's probably for somebody like the Sunshine Coast Falcons. So, yeah, when he's ready, the Storm are playing well enough that you can beat like a good Warriors team at the moment that I think is in better form than they're at the start of the year. I don't think that they'll be rushing him in and, risking Paps. I think despite how much of a hard-ass Bellamy is, I think he really cares about his players, and I think that he'll make sure that Pap's right to play first grade before he goes in. And with somebody like Faulongo, who looked fantastic in this one, did he score a double for his 89, I believe? I stopped watching once my multi got up and Faulongo scored. But yeah, I think he scored a double for his 89. He's electric, probably has a low floor. But yeah, just don't touch him and fall into that trap because Pap is coming. But it's still probably 5 weeks away, which is 3 Storm games away.
Yeah. So 2 tries, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist. The 2 tries are 35 points. The 2 line breaks are 20 points. There's 55. And the line break assist is 8. So that takes you to 63. So yeah, we're looking at like a 15 BP in 80 minutes, which is not great. And 4 tackle breaks in there as well. That's 8 points as well. So really the BP is like 7 points in a full game, which is not good. Take the good with the bad.
The worst thing for his tackle breaks are he's so quick that sometimes they can't put a hand on him.
Yeah, it's a phantom tackle break. At least Teddy's kind of slow, and he makes sure to like get a hand out and make it look like a defend.
Latrell, you see them bounce off, but Faulongo
runs into you. Like Latrell's got no agility. If you were making like a player in Madden, if you were making Latrell in Madden, strength and power would be like 99, and agility would be like 5 because his tackle break is just putting you on your ass.
Austin Eckler.
Literally, Derrick Henry just run over the top of you. Apart from that, not much else. Eli Katoa, I'm getting sick of this man. I hate this man with a passion. 761. No, I don't. I own Sean Bloor. I own the other one, the wrong one.
Why?
He'll be about 740K. He's just been electric this season. He was electric last season. And this is the thing. Like, he was terrible in his first season for the Storm. Well, like, first half of the season, he was terrible. But you persist with him. You give him more game time, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's had 2 scores below 50 all year, and a lot of north of 65. Like, he's been sensational.
Yeah, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm not that excited about Eli Katoa scoring well because I feel like everybody owns him. But when I have a look at 20%, yeah, maybe I should be more excited about his scores.
I would imagine that 20% is looking more like 60 or 70 if you look at teams in the top 10%. Like, it would be significantly higher. But scrolling down, we see two boys that are highlighted in mine. Harry Grant, 49. Can we just call it for what it is? He's been dog shit this year. Like, for Harry Grant standards, he's been terrible.
He's been terrible for Supercoach. He's still been good, but like, what else does he need to do? The team averaging 1 by 20.
He's averaging 65 this season, but it's just like, for what we know Harry Grant can be, it's just not it. Like, if you look at
Reed Martin, I haven't owned him.
No, well, that's the thing. Like, if you look at Reed Martin, you're like, oh my god, he's having a great season, and Harry Grant's still averaging more. So
yeah,
it shows you our perception of things and how Harry Grant goes through ebbs and flows.
But he does this through Origin every year because they do save him a little bit because the Storm are in fantastic form. He just wasn't that good probably through the first 8 weeks. He wasn't worth a hold through there.
He was
780 or whatever we paid for him.
He was great from like round 9 to like round 14. But yeah, the start of the season really did hurt him, and he didn't kick on as well as what we thought. And Joe Chan, 13 points. Fantastic for him if you needed an AE because he stunk it up. But he wasn't as bad as the next man, Joey Lussick, who plays the Parramatta Eels, 18, lost to the Roosters, 28. Lussick came on late again into the bench, and 5-pointer affair for Joey Lussick. A lot of people's AE had a break-even of 81 Matrix, 333K. This bloke is going to be 240K very, very shortly.
I didn't need the 70K, but I probably needed the 5 points this week. So I'm personally thankful for Joey Lussick and everything he provides for my team. I would have only been playing with 15 this week if not for Joey Lussick. So those 5 points and that 80K I could have spent elsewhere. Really? It's helped out.
I don't know why you just didn't jump on Brandon Hands a couple of weeks ago. Like, why didn't you?
I was just saving trades, and honestly, I thought Hands had won the position that Joey Lussick could sit there
Wouldn't
at
have even come into
370k.
consideration. He
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
just been
Honestly, yeah, I just thought that he would be there. He would just be sitting there. And then when I went to move on to somebody, it would be for one of the Origin hookers. It would be getting Harry Grant back in. It would be getting, I don't know, even a Connor Watson. I was thinking today, I'm like, man, like, I just wish that I could get Connor Watson in at hooker and just be done with it. And then he gets selected for Origin. Like, now with 250k, I'm probably just going to have to hold Lussick all year. I've got Appy, and I don't think he's got another buy.
Appy. No,
Or
Appy's
if
done
it is,
for the
it's
season.
during like a, yeah, I'm just going to hold Appy and probably just sit there with Joey Lussick and never trade in hooker. Probably through the first 10 rounds of next year as well.
You assume that Joe Lussick would be banished to the Wentworthville Magpies. However, he's making 10-minute cameos off the bench for Brendan Hands. Speaking of the Parramatta, Will Penasini 99. Whatever.
Peacock.
The Peacock Will Penasini. As you walk away, I'm going to give you some slander because you were tweeting a lot of negative things about Dylan Brown at about halftime, and he decided to pull his finger out. I think he got a try assist and a try with a couple of line breaks in there as well. Finished on an 82 for Dillbags. Great for him. Junior Balo, 76. Bryce Cartwright has been really, really good. They were looking for offloads heavily. Cardi is going to be about 545k next week. Kelman Tuolangi has had that 4-week suspension, so you would imagine probably Ryan Madison comes in and starts for Kelman Tuolangi. But Cardi, man, like Cardi could be a fantastic purchase at 700k, at 550k. Similar to Lukey, similar to Cam Murray, these guys that we can just take a flyer on, have them as our 2RF5, have them as our 2RF6. Definitely worth considering. Mitch Moses, 61, whatever. Brendan Hands, our Lord and Savior, 59 points from him. Blaise Talangi with a 43 with a try. Very thankfully got that try because it boosted his score up and a lot of people were forced to play him this week. I know that there was a lot of debate on social media this week about whether we play him or Ero or Hands, but with the outs to Fafita, Young, Kaipis, Paul, plenty of us were forced to play Blaise Talangi. Sean Lane was given the start and didn't do much with it. 41 points from him. Gutho, 39, probably one of the lowest scores I think Gutho put up as well. And that rounds out the Eels. But let's talk the Roosters because Connor Watson has been named for Origin. So, unfortunately, if you did pick up Connor Watson for buy coverage, you've been shafted. You've been absolutely shafted, Matrix.
Yeah, you have been. And Connor Watson has been one of the best players. I've got some mates that have got him in. He's gone up 350k or something absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, his form has earned him an Origin spot. But yeah, I suppose that takes him out of Supercoach contention for me.
Yes. Daniel Tupu, 108. Good for him. Angus Crichton, mate, he has been absolutely unreal. You look at his averages, and before this game, he was averaging 77. That'll be up towards 85. But that doesn't even tell you the full story, considering the start of the season that he had coming off the bench. Since he started, 83, 79, 52, 119, 151, 99, 62, 82, 100. He's averaging over 100 points a game starting, and he has been amazing. I sold him 2 weeks ago to get Fafita, and I thought I could buy him back cheaper, but he's going to be still over 800k by the time we can roll around and get him again.
Yeah, I still own him, which is great. You've seen some of my TikToks. One of my first TikToks was, about how good Angus Crichton is over Cam Murray. And to be honest, I was just about a year late. But look, yeah, Crichton, despite the draw, he's been that good, and him missing all those games just made me want to hold him. I just go, Angus Crichton, I want to finish the year with. I'm going to save some trades. So, feel pretty good about that. And Dylan Brown slander, can I say that he was on 13 at halftime when I tweeted that? So he scored the try. He's got the line break. Fantastic. But yeah, I'm just starting to get a bit worried that beside Moses, he's not the Dylan Brown I imagined.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, he's still very, like, the base is no longer there this season. So understandable. But yeah, Crichton, I still, even with last year, I still think he's been the best back row in the comp for the last 5-6 years. Like as a whole, as an overall point, like I think he's still been the best. And yeah, great. He's back playing good footy. Tedesco 98, fantastic, because he is highlighted in orange on my screen. I decided to jump off trail last minute and go to Teddy just based off the weather.
Oh, did you?
It's a very yeah. I just saw it was pissing down in Sydney, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then Trell was on like 60 at half time, and I was like, fuck, like this is going to end terrible. And then Trell got sin bitten and slowed down, which I was thankful for. Apart from that, not much else. Connor Watson, 58, which is below his standard that he set himself this year. Sam Walker, 52. Seems like he has cooled down dramatically, as has Victor Radley. I know he was popping off in the trades a couple of weeks ago. So it was Naf White. Terrell May, what the fuck are we doing with him? Because he is getting gross. Had a 40 break even this week, so not the end of the world. He'll lose a little bit of cash, but he'll be about 570K next week. We'll play him next week, obviously, because he's a number. But after that, what are we doing?
I'm holding Terrell May. I'm not as worried as you are about him. Like, I've got this philosophy at front row forward. I say it every week. I'm not wasting trades at front row forward. Terrell May is a season-long keeper. You know what? He might get 120 one week. He might get 27. He got 27 this week. I had a shit week. I'm going to live and die by May.
It's just like, since he, like, it's just so weird. Like, start of the season, when there was no Spencer Leniu and no Jared Hargraves, 64, 69. Then it was 44, and we were like, oh. But then 77, so we're like, oh, good. And 21, and we're like, oh. And then that 21 was with 20 minutes, and then he went 86, and we're like, he's back. And then 37 the week after, we were like, oh. And then 29, and everyone was jumping off. After that back-to-back scores, the shit scores, everyone jumped off. And then he went 120, 58, 49, 40. Cause for concern. Everyone's panicking about Terrell May. Pumps out of 116. We're all back on the train, baby. Stocks are high. Stocks are high. Pumps out of 27. We're like, oh, what's going on? Like, it's just so up and down. And I don't know, if you can go from Terrell May to Payne Haas in round 18 or 19, probably round 20.
But you need
do that.
You need 300K for that, don't you?
No, you don't. No, you do not. You need about 70K.
Oh, yeah, you do that.
Terrell May's 600K, bro.
Yeah, true. I that's how long since I've looked at front row forward.
Yeah, it gets like that. You're like, well, I was the same with Blaze Talangi. Like, I was talking to Brano last week, and Brano's like, Blaze Talangi's 580K. And I was like, sorry, what? Like, when did this happen? And the last one we'll talk about, Joey Manu, 39 points, 820K, 123 break even, going to lose chunks. Won't play fullback next week with Tedesco named at fullback. Man, it's been an up and down road for him. He was cucked on a couple of try assists. Manu owners up in arms this week on the socials. What are you doing?
He had the blue armband on me, but to be honest, he was cursed regardless. I had the blue armband on Fafita. He gets ruled out. That was my fault. Sorry, guys. And then I put the blue armband on Dom Young because I realized he was running at Sevo. He got ruled out. I said the word Sevo, and then he got ruled out. So then I put it on Joey Manu, and he's also ruled out. So I'd like to make a formal apology to all Joey Manu owners out there for ruining this for us all.
Cursed. But yeah, like every year we're like, oh, we'll buy Manu. We'll cop a couple of shit weeks. But when he plays fullback, man, he's going to average 100. And he played fullback in round 13, but did fuck all. And he won't be playing fullback in 19 or 20. 19 or 16. So 820K, he's going to lose about 70K this week. If you're fine for numbers...
You can't trade him out if you have him. You need the numbers.
If you have like 15, 16 next week, I wouldn't be opposed
to if you have
him.
16. Yep.
I wouldn't be opposed to getting rid of him. Like, he's not a keeper at that price, I don't think.
Who do you get?
Oh, that's a good question. All right. Well,
as somebody that has so you can't go to like a Val Holmes, you can't go to those other Origin guys. Carraz underperformed last game and doesn't play round 19 regardless. Like, do you go to a Sarko? I'm just trying to give some people.
Yeah, I'm having a look. I'm actually having a look.
It's really maybe a Sarko or Hammer.
Maybe he's not a trade next week. Maybe he's a trade the week after to someone like a Lomax or a Toto or mate, Micah Sevo is the 11th best centre wing on average. Wild. Actually, yeah, there's
That's
actually
fair.
not
He's played like 4 games this year.
There's not that many to trade to.
No,
when you think about it. So yeah, maybe
center
I'm just
wing.
Waffle.
Yeah, center wing isn't as high as what, and I would like you're talking about Micah Sevo there at 11th. Once you go up to about 7 or 8, I still think that this guy outperforms everybody else through that period. The Roosters are humming. He had a game where it feels like he got cucked on a few of those, assists there.
Yeah, he definitely did.
He's a hold.
I'll tell you what is funny, just quickly looking at this and the narratives that surround players. Jacob Carraz, what a guy. Stud. Absolute career best form. Supercoach must have. Average 72.7. Micah Sevo, bum, disgrace, shouldn't play first grade. Absolute tragedy. Averaging 70.
Yeah, I
crazy.
know, like
crazy.
All
right.
And it's maybe that huge ceiling. Just wait. We've got to shout out Ryan from Astute Newstead before we go to the next one. But have a chat to Ryan. He can help get you into your home of your dreams. I know he's helped me out refinancing mine for this little room out the back. I know he's helped Braino out in his new... he's got a podcast studio at the moment, and that's all due to Ryan. Look, let us know that we got you in touch with him, and it won't cost you a dime. Honestly, if you've even got a home loan at the moment and it's above 6.2%, he can just save you some money, whether it's to buy an extra carton this week or not. Ryan can help you save some money. So get in contact with him, whether it's new home loans, refinancing your own, or looking at an investment property. Ryan can help you out.
Absolutely. Just doing some reading on Twitter while we were gone, and it was brought to mind. Do you think if New South Wales just get pumped and the series is done and Cleary's back around 19, that New South Wales roll out 3 different halfbacks? Or do you think if the series is done, they just don't pick Cleary?
I think they pick Cleary regardless.
You reckon if they win and he's fit, he gets picked?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Imagine that. 3 different halfbacks. That'd be hilarious. They just don't get Origin footy, mate. They just don't get it.
They just don't get it, man.
Moving into the final day of the round, Sunday, the Manly Sea Eagles 30 beat the Dragons 14. And worth noting that the Manly had no substitutions for like the entire second half. They had 4 players out and just had to play with no sub. So absolutely massive effort from Manly, and shout out to them. But Hamole Olakau'atu top scored this game with a 118 with upgrades. Plenty of people in the chat telling us that upgrades have come through. Hamole, interesting one, because he is a keeper, but it's like, when do you jump on?
I wanted to buy him for 500k, which is what the projections were looking at. He dropped. He was 623. He had a break even of 150. And I thought, you know what? He hurt himself last week. He might get a 40 or a 50 this week. Go away to Origin again. You know what? Round 20, you're looking at him. He's 540k and you ride him all the way home. But to be completely honest, we should expect this from really talented players. This is what you wanted for him. He's only going to drop 30k. I still think at late 500s, if we get onto him just after that Origin period, Hamole is a season-long keeper.
Absolutely. Daly Cherry Evans, 105 points from him. Congrats. Let's talk Lehigh Hopewade, because 204k, minus 63 break even. Nearly 9,000 people traded him in this week. I was very staunch on the don't bring him in train. And not because I thought he was a bad player. I thought he would score very well. Fullbacks at Manly generally do. And he didn't again today with a 92. My dilemma was, at this point in the season, is the money worth it? Probably not. He'll play this week, he'll play next week. But we got reports early this week, after we recorded the podcast on Tuesday, that Tom Trbojevic is back in training from next week and is looking like a round 18 return. So then people still brought in Lehigh Hopewade. Yes, 92 points.
300k. I think the 300k might have been now that we know that he scored 100, that's a different. 92, sorry. That's a different thing. But if he scores 50.
Yeah, if you told me you scored 45, 50 points, is it worth it? I just didn't think it was at the time.
No. And I'm with you there. I actually thought Fletcher Sharp because of Turbo's on his way to coming back, and it looks like Ponga, round 21, round 22?
Yeah. And there's also, like, there's some talk that are like, people are digging up an interview with Seabold saying that they had talked about playing Turbo at centre. But if you actually read that interview, he goes on to say the load on him at fullback is different to the load on him at centre, and they don't want him to get battered in the defensive line in centre. So I think Turbo will stay at fullback. But even still, like, if they move Hopper-Wade, if they move Turbo to the centres, then what? Like, does Garrett go to the wing? Does Cooler drop out? Like, I just don't see this happening. I think Hopper-Wade is the one that does go out, unfortunately. And it feels like a bit of coping from people that bought him. But if you did buy him, 92 points is absolutely fantastic, and well done to you. And I guess it's case by case. If you have 20 trades, 21, 22 trades, by all means, jump on the cash. But if you're sitting there with 16, 17 trades, I probably wouldn't, because you're just having to trade him out again in a couple weeks' time. And that was my only dilemma.
As somebody that got David Armstrong in for one game for his 23, and now, look, I'm going to get him in Super League Supercoach, so that's the silver lining.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for our Lee Leopards preview coming soon.
Yeah, 100%. You should see what I think about Huddersfield this year. But basically, I'm scarred from just getting these guys in case they drop out. And I think the second that Tom Trebojevic steps foot on the football field, Lehigh Hopper-Wade will be looking for a contract somewhere else.
The second Tom Trebojevic steps on the field, he's straight back into my team as well. I've been very vocal about that. I think the Manly draw is fantastic. But let's talk Ruben Garrick, one of the most popular captain options this week. It was a emotional roller coaster for Ruben Garrick. Suffered a HIA, or didn't suffer a HIA, was sent for a HIA, passed, came back on, and then suffered another head knock, which required a HIA, which was then deemed a Cat 1. He will miss this week with a 9-pointer, and he will also miss next week as well. Garrick's had a couple of stretches of HIA issues this season, a break-even of 85. He'll have a monster break-even the week when he returns, and another one the week after that. I don't mind picking up Ruben Garrick for 630K. That's got my name all over it.
Yeah, so I own him. He's probably somebody I'll hold through this period because I, as mentioned earlier, am extremely stubborn. I know that my 2-year-old son doesn't listen to the podcast, but I'm sorry that I woke you up yelling at the ABC commentators in the car today. Because once he come back on and the commentary team was saying what was happening to him and he had to go off again, I was devastated. I had 2 players playing in the last couple of days after I was sitting on about 750, and that was Dylan Edwards and Ruben Garrick. And my day for Supercoach wasn't real good, but look, I think he's a hold. If you're not trading in Lehigh Hopper-Wade to make 150K, you're not trading out Ruben Garrick because you think he's going to drop 150.
Exactly. I'm not selling him at all if I have him. I'm looking at buying him in probably round. Do they play round 19? I'll have to look.
No, I don't think they do. They play 16, not 19, if I remember correctly.
Round 20 has Ruben Garrick's name all over it in my best buys. I can see that one coming from a mile away. Apart from that, not a whole lot else to talk about from the Sea Eagles. The Dragons, lots of Zach Lomax debate in the chat saying he got cucked. Matt Sherwood, try stolen from him, dropped another one over the line. Could have been another 150-point game. Do you know what that sounds like, Matthew? Sounds like a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas. It doesn't translate. Mate,
when you said that Zach Lomax was cucked, I was like, fuck, you thought Tommy Talau would do that to him?
Surgis and Tommy Talau on the sideline? Damn.
Running at each other?
Oh, that's arousing. Tommy Talau lost the battle today, but he won the war with the Jess Surgis Cup win today. But Zach Lomax, mate, as much as I take the piss out of him, I'm terrified not owning this bloke because he is in career best form. Like, he is sensational. And it really blows my mind that he doesn't want to play wing because he's playing the best football of his career. He will get whatever contract he wants playing on the wing. He offers so much to an attack, and he's just been electric this season.
He's last year when we were talking about Valentine Holmes and you had to trade him out because he was playing Origin. Zach Lomax is that this year because we didn't trade him in. He gets 170 last week. He gets 80 this week. He's had 250 in the last couple weeks. Yes, he misses Origin, but hopefully you've got the coverage for that. Lomax is going to be another one of those that just got away, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Unless like I have a week where I have a fullback go down or I have Valentine Holmes out for the season with like an ACL, I just can never get him in, and it's just one of those ones where you have to death ride him every week because I can't pay, $750K for a center wing. I just couldn't do it to myself.
Garrick to Lomax?
No. I mean, if you're dead set on getting Lomax, find the cash elsewhere. I'm just not doing it via what's his name? What's his fucking Garrick? We also got Cleary to come back as well, bro. Like people need to find the cash for Cleary as well. Like he'll be back shortly, and
I've got to find the catch for Nico Cleary. Like there's a serviceable fullback.
I think your Sean Johnson 21 will get you a long way to getting the cash for one of those two, mate.
Means a lot, especially coming from you.
Exactly. Apart from that, Dragons were pretty mid Supercoach wise. Flano with a 70,
DeBellin?
Little with a 63. No, fuck DeBellin. Ben Hunt with a 58, but yeah, Jack DeBellin just decided to not play footy today. I bought him as a set and forget 60 points every week. Dog shit.
Poor man's Taps. We didn't even bring him up because this is what Tarpany does.
Let's go back to the Raiders Cowboys game because Joey Tarpany sucked.
He still scored 60, so I'm
58.
happy.
Oh yeah, he just does that. But yeah, Jack DeBellin just is dog shit. I don't know why I have him in my team, but whatever. And the last game of the round, the Newcastle Knights played in Newcastle because I know it took me about fucking 2 hours to get home because I had to drive past the stadium and everyone was out. And the Panthers 26. Top score of the round, Dylan Lucas. Mate, of the team. If you told me Dylan Lucas would start every week in the back row, I would pick him hands down. But
we would have all had him.
No, but like this is the thing. Like Adam O'Brien's like, 1 week I'm gonna play fucking Tyson Frizzell in the middle. The next week I'm gonna play him on an edge. And it's just like, where the fuck does KPP come into this? Where the fuck does Dylan Lucas come into this? It's like his role is so all over the shop that I don't know what to make of it, and I can't pay $600K for a bloke who has no role.
It's true. That duel, like at the start of the year, the general rule is you want a second row forward that averages 60 in your center wing and you set and forget him. But we just couldn't do it with him coming off the bench. I think he even got dropped one game for Kai Pearce-Paul. Frizzell was never intended to come through the middle. But anyway, I've said it about 3 times this podcast. He could be one that got away. But you could just look at Lucas next year and just see what happened. Like they were pretty good today, realistically. Would he score 1 try?
Yeah. I think next year will be a good indicator because Frizzell will be another year older. And if they're already thinking about moving into the middle, then maybe next year they pull the trigger. He's averaging 63 this year, so if he does continue to do that, he'll come in at about 620. The only problem is he might not be available at center wing, which is the only downside. But he's played enough there this year that maybe he does. But yeah, I can't buy him. I can't buy Bradman Best at 72. Fletcher Sharp, interesting one because, like, for me specifically, I have Trell, and like, I don't want Fletcher Sharp. Like, the problem is, I want Travojevic to run home. I've been very vocal about that.
Do you have Teddy and Trell?
I have Teddy and Trell mid.
Yeah, right.
So like, I can't get Fletcher Sharp in as much as I'd love to. He's fullback only. Doesn't probably have the upside as to what those other guys have. Like Latrell could sneeze and get 70 points, and Fletcher Sharp played the game of his life and scored 75. So this is the only problem that I have. If you don't have 2 premium fullbacks at the moment, I think he's a good purchase. Not next week, the week after. But I think if you have 2 premium fullbacks there already, I wouldn't be looking at him. And I would also seriously consider Tom Trbojevic. Like, I just want you guys to go have a look at the draw. And I know that he's injury prone, but like, you want Turbo. And I just don't want to make a million trades at fullback. It's why I didn't jump on Lehigh Hopewade. It's why I'm probably not going to jump on Fletcher Sharp. But if you have no premium fullback, I think he's a great option. Yeah, like if you trade that Walsh last week to a center wing, like if you traded Walsh to a DWZ, if you trade him to ex-generic fullback, ex-generic center wing that's gooder, and you need a fullback, I think Fletcher Sharp could be your guy.
You've just looked into my eyes and seen that I've traded Reece Walsh out for DWZ.
Yeah, and I think you could then just trade out Ero or Armstrong. Like you still have Armstrong, correct?
No, I trade out. I've traded out Armstrong. So
okay, well, yeah, you can trade out Ero to not next week, but like Ero to Fletcher Sharp or whatever. But just be careful because he's not going to be back until round 18. No, round 17 he'll be back, and then Ponga's back in round 20 or 21. So you're going to get a month out of Fletcher Sharp, which is a little bit better than Lehigh Hopewade.
Which is about the time when I want to jump back on a Reece Walsh or somebody like that. Yeah,
Walsh. I mean, if Ponga's back, look at there, run home. As I said, I'm going to glaze him on my knees as enough as I can. Tom Travojevic, like there's fullbacks that open up. Pappenhausen if he's back, round 20. A lot of this cohort. I would imagine a little bit because he went on that mad run before he went off. Just have a look while I'm still talking.
Yeah, keep talking.
But like that cohort of fullbacks that we lost early in the season, they all come back at the same time. And if you do jump on Fletcher Sharp, he could be a great jump off point. You could get Fletcher Sharp up to 450, 500K and then jump off him and upgrade to a premium fullback keeper for another 150K or so. So definitely worth considering there. Jack Cogger, 62, whatever. Jackson Hastings, 61, whatever. Greg Marzu, 50 points. Feels like a win for him.
Oh, as somebody that took him in the second round of one of his drafts, it is not a win.
I fucking tossed and turned all preseason about how I could fit him in my side. I was like, do I just go full like cheapy bench and get him? Or do I not? And I didn't end up doing it, thankfully. But I put up a stat the other day. It's a actually really ridiculous stat. It was like Sam Hughes has 2 games this season over 60 points, and Greg Marzu has 1. That is mental.
That is gross. In that draft, I took Ponga with 1 and Marzu with 2.
Went the stack.
Yeah. How good's that going?
Unlucky. For the Knights, not much else. Jaden Bradley came off the bench late, which fucked a lot of people, I would have imagined. Like people probably have Bradley as a hooker 1. And when he's coming off the bench the last game of the round, it's not fun. For the Panthers, West Tigers icon, Billy Mustachio already, Jerome Luai, can show that he can be the main man. I loved watching him today.
He won them this game. Honestly, the Panthers weren't on song.
Best game I've ever seen him play.
I reckon that game where they played the Sharks as well, they are the best 2 games I've seen him play in watching him, 5 years?
Yeah, no, he's when he doesn't have to be second fiddle, I think he's exceptional. And I think he will go really well for us next year. I think we lack a lot of polish inside the opponent's 20, and Luai can probably bring that, and it will free up Galvin. But maybe I'm just glazing Luai too much. I think this was an exceptional game from him. 121. I have no interest in buying him for Supercoach, however. I have interest in Brian To'o, maybe. Ever since Glue Hands May has left and Luai's played more of a main role, To'o has picked up his scoring as to what we know he can. He had a break even this week of 2. Scored 120. Scored 100. So he'll be up over nearly 800K next week. He's back to his best. Since Cleary went down, 98, 34, 86, 56, 55, 171, 100. Like, we'll never get 2021 Brian To'o again. We'll never get the 65 base power. He scores a try, he's an automatic 120. Like, we'll never have that. But 800K is a lot of money. But if you jumped on him, fantastic. There was someone in the chat here. Swift AU. He bought in Brian To'o this week. So congratulations to Swift. Good stuff. Yeah, Brad Schneider, 70.
Thanks, DeAndre. But I think if you're looking at trading in one of those 700K Jermaine Asakos or somebody like that, just get Lomax or To'o. They are probably the 2 best centre wings in the comp at the moment.
And
I don't know how New South Wales didn't win the first game.
I don't know how much you want to take like pedigree and provenness into your accounts of picking players, but like Asako did it for one season. Now he's struggling this year. Toto's done it for the last 4 years. So take that for what you want. Lindsay Smith, 71, whatever. Dylan Edwards, 68. That has to be one of the lowest games I've ever seen Dylan Edwards play without Nathan Cleary. Like 68 feels like a disappointment for him.
Yeah, he does that every time I captain him. So I captain him this week.
Nice. Isaiah Yo, 63. Paul Alamotti, 67. Not much else. Liam Henry, 47. He was my front row forward too when I had a million out. So congratulations to him. And finally, Isaac Tungo continues to be utter dog shit.
I mean, that's about what he's priced at. So
yeah, he was 800k. Like, hang on. So he was 820k in round 4, and then from there it's just gone absolutely downhill.
Imagine if you bought him at 820k, just thinking he's going to have this career best year.
I remember putting a post up. I think it was something like over the last 10 rounds, it was after the Broncos game when he scored 100. So you take into account the first 3 games of the season, and then like the last 7 games of last year, he was averaging like 84.5 or something ridiculous. And I was like, Tungo is a freak. And then from that game, he went 45, 145, 100. Started the season fantastically. Then went 47, 32, 58, 34, 29, 74, 39, 37, 41. He has not. He's had 1 game over 50, over 60. And that was at 828k. Utter dog shit.
Yeah, and like, you know how Dallin has bottomed out at 430 or stuff like that, and you have a look at the team coming back and everything. I don't see it, and like, yeah, that didn't work out well this week, but I don't see a world where I look at Tungo. Honestly,
I might if I can get him with his price starting with a 3. If I can get him for 380, 390 with Cleary back.
That's next week.
What?
It's getting awfully. Sorry, he's going to be 3.
It's getting close.
It's going to be 420 next week.
He had a break even of 74, so he scored 37. So he scored 40 points under his break even, or 35 points under his break even. So he'll lose another probably 30k.
He's 4.
And when did he have that 71 in his thing? Let me quickly have a look. I can't believe we're actually talking about Isaac Tungo as a potential option.
We're not.
So, mate, I don't know. If I could buy him for like 390 with Cleary back, you could do worse.
Yeah, maybe. They're not playing 16 and 19 though, right?
No, they're not. So you could pick him up in round 20. And are you telling me that Dolphins, Dragons, Newcastle, Parramatta is not enticing with Cleary back?
He doesn't get the ball.
With Cleary he does though, because Cleary only goes fucking right. I don't know. Maybe this is the Jack Whiten 2.0 where I'm just like, I'm trying to see the positives. But like, all right, chat, if people that are watching, we have 205 viewers at the moment, which is absolutely crazy. I want to know, can you guys comment if you can buy Isaac Tungo for 400k with Cleary back, would you consider it for like your centre wing 6 or 7? Because maybe I'm crazy, but I would definitely take a stab on him. But that is going to wrap up the preview, the review. We've actually got 10 comments starred this week, so we'll go through those. First one from Reese. Are we just holding Chan? I think for next week you have to, just for the number.
Yeah, you can put this into Lussick. You can put this into a few guys at the moment. I suppose. I don't know if it's worth a trade out. And in reality, it's 2 trade outs to get anyone that is considered a trade out, correct? Yeah,
like you're not, unless you've got 500k in the bank. You don't have the money. Greatest mortgage broker of all time, Ryan Hammond, asks, why have we got the bench podcasters for this? # bring back Brano. So reason for that is I have no children and Matrix's child is too young to go to daycare and pick up sickness. So Brano, his house is just riddled with illness with his child at the moment.
My kid's older than Brano, but he just doesn't have the stamina that I have. Like, can I tell you that you can kill a lot of daycare diseases with beer? So I'm still standing.
Yes. So that's that. There was a lot of love in the chat for Garrett getting updated. I don't even know what he finished on. I didn't look, but like,
it was a 6, and then it got updated to 7 in the chat. I noticed people saying, and then it got re-updated to 9. So
Saints
not all
just
heroes
sit
wear
there.
capes.
Saints just sit there with the magnifying glass trying to find any fucking hit up or any tackle bust, even that remotely look like some points to give himself.
It was a line break when he got hit around the head and ruled out.
They added a new stat called penalty of in AFL. You get points if you win a penalty. So I think they've done that in NRL. Like Garrick got a HIA, so they've given him points for picking up a penalty. Swift, when we're talking about Highland Lukey, Swift AU brings up moving forward. Should we straight up Bo Fermor and bring in Lukey? And I would be lying to you if I knew what the form of Bo Fermor has looked like. I will quickly pull it up. But I mean, if you can,
it's been okay.
Oh shit, he's
But
604K. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think you're selling high on Fermor, and you don't really want to play him every week at the moment.
Okay, so
I think going to Lukey's fine.
Fermor has been very up and down. So we've gone 34, 53, 39. Then a 71, 71, which is great. Then 49, 59, 46, so back to mediocrity. Then 76, 70, 81. And then a 45, and then back to 47. So it looks like you're going to get peaks and troughs. You're going to get that with Healing Lukey as well. I would definitely sell high on Fermor and bring in Healing Lukey. I think that could be a really great play. Reese, thoughts on Pappenhausen when he's back? Did we get a price on Pap, my friend?
Yeah, it was 690. So the answer was no, because the price is too damn high. I think when he's not goal kicking, I think he's just Reece Walsh. And you can just buy Reece Walsh for, sorry, not Walsh James. Thank you, NRL Supercoach stats, for like the same price. There's 30K's difference between Pappenhausen and Reece Walsh.
I would say he's an Aldi version of Reece Walsh when he's not goal kicking, just because they have so much attack. They've got Grant, they've got Hughes, they've got Munster. At the Broncos, it's like we have
Walsh and Walsh. Do you watch the last game?
We have Jock Madden and Billy Walters. What the fuck else do we do? Let's just give it to Reece. So yeah, I would say that he's probably low, and at 690, absolutely not. If he was like 550, then yeah, let's have a punt. But at 690, absolutely not. And Reece again, Iro and Terrell May holds. Terrell May for next week, yes, just because of the numbers. But we've discussed Iro. I think it depends on your team makeup, Matrix. Yeah. For me, he's not, because I'm very happy to plug a center wing 4 that scores 65. You are a little bit more advanced with your keepers for the run home. I think you're looking at probably taking more rocks or diamonds, guys. Iro is very much just plain Jane.
Like, the problem is I've got Manu, Garrick, Val, Dallin, Dom Young, Karaz, and Mulatalo. Like, who do you trade out of that? I think I'm too stubborn to trade out Dallin the week after I get him. So, yeah, it's kind of shitted me a bit having Mulatalo and Iro. Iro's worth more. Let's just do that.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just going back and reading the main chat because there's a couple of oh yeah, so see, this is, you're crazy, mate. Look, people in the chat, they love the Isaac Tunga for 400K, and so do I. So shout out to them. Raymond.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Raymond.
300K. Fuck, that's a bit.
Yeah, I would get him for 300K too, man.
You would rather Jack Bostock at the start of the season than Isaac Tunga playing outside Nathan Cleary.
This is true.
Wild.
They're probably higher on the ladder.
Oh yes, Mr. Callio. Did the inside punters bet hit? Well, 66% of it got void because Fafita didn't play, so that was void. And then we had another one with Dom Young in it, so that got voided. So then the last leg, the only leg of the multi was the Parramatta Roosters game to go over 52.5, which it didn't. So we had one leg to hit, and we still couldn't hit that. So
nice, but we got our money back. We didn't lose.
We got our money back, so we are breaking even. Haggy, since Stefano didn't make Origin, does he leave the Tigers now? So with this, it was a player option. So Stefano has the option to cut his deal a year short. So it doesn't mean that he's out. It really just comes down to Stefano. You obviously hear sometimes they have mutual options in contracts, or they have a team-friendly option or a player-friendly option. With the Stefano deal, it was just an option in his favor. So if he wanted out, he is more than welcome to go out because he didn't get picked, but it's up to him. He had some really promising comments this week about Leichhardt and loving playing there, and the Tigers obviously just received funding to keep Leichhardt happening. So fingers crossed for Tigers fans. that doesn't happen.
And, and when you see Jerome Luai having a game like that, wouldn't you get a little bit of confidence?
Oh, mate,
as
did
a
you
Tigers
hear?
player?
So there was a report. There's a report going around that Luai spoke to Galvin after the Tigers played Penrith.
Yeah, right.
And just said, keep going. Like, it'll be you and me next year. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like, love that. Absolutely. Like, I think I quote tweeted it.
But Bud Sullivan's there.
Oh, mate, Bud Sullivan can fucking play for the Warwickville Tigers for all I care. Yeah. So Luai. So Lockie Galvin on Jerome Luai. And this is from NBWT, which is a West Tigers news fan page. I spoke to him when we versed him in Bathurst. He said, keep going, you're killing it. You'll see me next year. I can't wait to learn off him when he comes next year. It should help me develop and become a better player. So, yeah. Also, Galvin came out and said that the Panthers basically said, you have a contract with us if you want to come. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's like, do you go play alongside Cleary or do you stay at the Tigers and rebuild them with Luai? But seems like Galvin staying, and it'll be him and Luai playing in the halves next year. And hopefully Stefano stays. So hopefully
he's got to be released. He's signed for a couple of years. So.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah. He also I think he committed word of mouth. So we'll see. Matrix, this one's for you. Agent Cheese wants to know, who's the basketball signed by after the back corner there? I really hope it's some obscure NBA player, NBL player.
So up the top is Michael Conley, number 11. Played in the Western Conference Finals. And then as we go, that little MG is Marc Gasol, one of my favorite players of all time. Michael Conley and Marc Gasol. Elite areas, and it's probably a little obscure, I suppose. It's not it's not an Allen Iverson or Shaq. I've got a signed Marc Gasol jersey as well. So
I was hoping for some Luke Mbata merchandise. Agent Cheese also wants to let us know that he's thinking of doing Manu to Lomax after Origin. That could be on. What does the Roosters draw look like for the run home? Because I think you guys would all agree Manu is fantastic, but Manu playing center for 820k is just way too much. A lot of you guys would have purchased him thinking that he was going to be playing fullback, in which a very valid thing to think. Like no one really thought Tedesco was going to get dropped, but him at fullback him at center is just not worth 800k. The run home for them is the Dogs, Tigers, St. George. That's pretty good. Melbourne, Manly, Dolphins, Parramatta, Titans, Raiders, South. Holy fuck. Roosters have a great run home. I could just run Teddy and Turbo and pretend like it's 2021 all over again.
I am running Manu and Terrell May and Angus Crichton all through that period, so I'm okay with this. I can't see myself... I wanted, looking at that draw, I wanted Sam Walker as well, to be honest. But I just think that you couldn't hold that many Roosters players in case they shat the bed.
Yeah, they also have a buy in 23 as well, so just keep that in mind. But if you have Joe Manu, are you just going to hold for the season?
Yep. Yeah, he's season-long keeper. I bought him in round 9, and I'm stubborn.
Fair enough. Terry King. Hey, boys. Love the show. Thank you so much, Terry. He bought Tungo 2 weeks ago for the run home with Cleary. Was hoping no one would go the Panthers. So I think this is just echoing in the back of our debate about Isaac Tungo at 390k, 400k. I think it's just adding to the conversation. So I like it a lot.
If you make 100k going Euro to Tungo,
that's pretty hot. If you make money going Euro to Tungo, that's good. Nathan Spencer says, would you sell Dom Young to get the money for Hines? And then he wants to add, he has Hughes as his halfback. So he's obviously looking at Hughes and Hines, I would imagine. I don't know if I'd sell Dom Young, man. We just talked about how fucking good that Roosters draw is, and he is the focal point of that attack. I probably have no way I'm selling Dom Young, unless his hamstring is like 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, I think you hold him. I think you'll find other ways to get to Nico. Honestly, I'd rather go Hughes to Nico and save some money there. Surely you could just nuff someone at this point in the year when Nico's at a point that you want to get him. So, just nuff out a Jamin Salmon or something and, go up to Nico.
Also, if you still have boost left, you can also do a 3 down, 2 up type situation. You can trade out 3 mid-price guys for 1 nuff and then a cheapie and a premium. And Lyle just wants to add that the Roosters have a bye in the quarterfinals of head-to-heads, which is important, but it's not important if you're good and you just skip the quarterfinal stage. just come first or second, you'd be sweet.
Get dubs.
But yeah, no worries. Well, it's been an hour and a half of drivel with no metrics. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'm still home for the next 2 weeks, so I'll be on for the next couple of episodes. But that's been an Insight Fantasy Sports podcast hosted by myself at SC Whisperer and Matrix at SC_Matrix. We'll be back on Tuesday with our ranks. Do you think you're getting a green, mate, with your 900?
Look, I'm in good stead for the weeks ahead. So, I'm getting a lot of red. I've been going through this. I've had some really good spots, and I'm probably going to be like 8,000 heading into this week. So,
and we will just finish up for Joe Mama. Shout out to the 2009 humor. I finished on 1,064. Brano finished
940.
On 940, and the Matrix finished on like 1,080, 1,090. So mediocre. I mean, I'm ranked 22k, so I'm hoping I see some green arrows, and then if we can bump up into that top 10k in the next month, that'd be fantastic. But that's everything. Thank you so much for your time tonight, guys. We will see you next Tuesday.
Cheerio.